Little dogs, you can pick right up and place them in the tub. They don't have a choice. They go, they go right where you put them.
Small dogs are easier to blow dry.
All dogs need grooming, whether they're a short-haired dog or a long-haired dog. Either they're going to shed or they're going to need to be brushed. There's no easy dog. Well, I mean, they're easy, but there's no maintenance dog. They all need grooming. They all have nails, and they all need their ears cleaned, and they all need checkups at the vet. Vets are very expensive, and it's going up all the time. Definitely choosing a vet, finding a good vet, which is hard to do. Finding a good groomer is hard to do, and it's very expensive. This dog has a double coat. It's a Pomeranian mix. She wants to be held, so she keeps trying to jump up. Pomeranian mix, so she's got this double coat. So you might say, oh, I'll just take her to the groomer and get her hair cut. Well, not so fast, because you can cut this hair, but it might not grow back. There is so much to learn. All breeds are different. And if you get a mixed breed, you don't really know what kind of hair they're going to have. So a double-coated dog like a Pomeranian has to be brushed a lot. Washed and brushed, or it'll just tangle up. I mean, a Pomeranian hair can be a real nightmare if they're outside a lot and they're rolling around in the dirt. There's all kinds of grooming tools, all different kinds of brushes for different kinds of dogs. Now this girl is getting a kind of short haircut, and it seems like a simple solution. Well, if a dog has long hair and you don't want to take care of the hair, well, just shave it off, right? It might not grow back. This is a Pomeranian that has been shaved down. I don't know if you can see this. It's not a good picture, but see how it just grew back in a couple patches? Here's a patch, here's a patch, the head is a patch. There's some patches back here. The front legs grew back. Well, this is years of shaving a Pomeranian down. So you might not be able to cut your dog's hair. Not without this happening. There's a lot to learn about the hair when you pick out a puppy. Short-haired dogs shed like crazy too. So if you're the type of person that does not like hair on your hardwood floors, I wouldn't do it. Some long-haired dogs grow hairs in the pads of their feet. So even the pads of their feet can get really matted. See all the hair in here? That has to be shaved out. If you don't shave it out or keep it cut out, it gets longer, and you got to imagine running in the mud, tree sap. They step in poop. If you don't clean up the poop in the backyard, they just bring it in their feet. Everything sticks to the hair. That's always something to consider. Long-haired dogs grow hair on their butt, on their poo-poo area. See all the hair? You can see this. We shave this out at the groomers, but if you don't go to the groomers, you're going to have to learn how to groom them at home. Another thing to think about is if your dog needs a haircut, are you going to need a grooming table? Are you going to do it yourself, or are you going to let the groomers do it? Because this is a hydraulic table. It goes up and down. I just press on the pedal over here and it goes down. Or you can just get a regular grooming table that stands still. It doesn't go up and down, but that can be kind of difficult depending how tall or short you are, how tall or low the table is. Another thing to consider is Instagram is not real. Cute, fluffy dogs on Instagram are not naturally cute. They are brushed. I mean, it's almost, I don't want to say abuse, but it's almost abusive. Those people, some of those poor dogs, the poodles and the Bichons, they're on the table for hours getting brushed. I mean, it drives me nuts. So, I mean, those are things to consider. How much grooming do you want? A Cocker Spaniel, do you know how thick a Cocker Spaniel's hair is? It's very thick, and it picks up everything it touches. Everything sticks to it. I would just say do your research on different coats, Look at it. I don't know if you can see in here. See, so I've cut this dog a couple times, and it's a Pomeranian mix, but as you can see, it's not growing back even. It's really short here. It's got the outer coat because it has the outer coat and the inner coat, and it grows at different lengths. Right now, see, look at this. That's growing faster than that spot. I haven't cut this yet. I don't know if you can see that. So some dogs, you really can't even cut their hair. I mean, you can, but you might screw it up. Like I said, a lot of the long-haired dogs, they grow hair on their poo-poo area. That constantly needs to be cut. And some dogs, they don't want their butt touched. They don't want their tail trimmed. Well, they'll let groomers do it, but a lot of owners have a hard time even trimming little parts of their dog because it's not easy. So I'm just trimming under her tail under here, just to take all this hair out so it stays nice and clean when she goes to the bathroom. I'm shaving out her female area because you got to think when she pees, it gets all over her hair. I mean, all this hair back here. But I'm taking this short today. But you're also taking a chance when I take that short that it might mess her hair up and it might not grow back right. So why am I cutting her hair if I know that it might mess her coat up? Because her owner asked me to. That's why. I explained to everybody that cutting their hair might screw the hair up. So this is always the owner's choice, but not all dogs. I mean, it doesn't happen with everybody. Some Pomeranians I've shaved and their hair grows back perfectly normal. And like Malteses and Cocker Spaniels, you can shave them down and it'll grow back. It's just the double-coated, these thick dogs like Pomeranians and Shelties and Golden Retrievers. They really should not be cut. Like minimally, maybe just you can trim up the feathers, but when you start cutting into their undercoat, it can really mess up their hair. I see a lot of people, they think that they're getting one breed and they end up getting something else. For instance, a lot of people get dogs from a shelter and it's not what they think. A lot of people working at the shelter do not know the breeds. I mean, they come up with some crazy stuff like just because a dog has short hair, they'll say it's a Lab Chihuahua mix. And you know that's impossible. Like, if you think about it. I don't know how that happens. But they just guess. So when the puppy gets older, they end up with something they don't want. A lot of people get dogs because, for instance, here comes my golden doodle rant. Golden doodles are so hairy, and they're big, and they're expensive to groom. They are a lot of work, and they are high maintenance, and people don't know what they're getting into. They're very expensive to groom because, oh my God, they take like, I don't know. It depends on the groomer. It depends on the dog. It depends on if the owner is willing to brush their dog. It takes 3 times as long as a medium dog. I mean, if it's all tangled up, it could take the groomer hours. It's crazy, and people just they don't know what they're in for. That's why I'm doing this video. Like, make sure you figure out what you're in for. So many people don't know what they're in for. For instance, Shar-Peis and English Bulldogs. Allergies, and a lot of other dogs, but I mean, allergies are really common in certain breeds. I wouldn't even have them knowing what I know now. Of course, I mean, they're all different, but let's talk about hips, bad hips in German Shepherds. That's another big one that a lot of people don't know what they're in for, and then their dog can barely walk when it's only 8 or 9 years old. Their hips go out. I mean, that's a lot of big dogs, like Great Pyrenees, Golden Retrievers. You just don't know what you're getting into. At one time, I had 15 dogs. That's a lot of dogs. Thinking back, that's why I'm doing this video, because I've learned so much of what not to do. I just think back, it's crazy. 15 dogs. And most of my dogs needed haircuts. Well, of course, I'm a groomer, but if I had to pay somebody to groom them, and you got to think, another thing to think about, fleas. What if your dog gets fleas? Sometimes the flea treatment doesn't work. You know? Sometimes if you have a couple dogs in your house, it can get really expensive to treat all those dogs for fleas. And then that's another thing. The flea drop, some of them can kill your dog. And yes, they can, because it happened to 2 of mine. So that is true. But if your dog gets fleas, it can cause flea allergy, and you can spend thousands at the vet trying to get their skin better. Another thing to think about. Another controversial subject is, do you want to pay $1,000 for a puppy to encourage breeding dogs when you could go to the shelter and save a life? I mean, how many thousands of dogs are they putting to sleep because they don't have homes? And then people are going out and paying thousands of dollars for dogs. Something to think about. Another fun subject when picking out a puppy. And I'm not judging people, because I mean, I've done it all. I've bought dogs from pet stores. I would never do that now. Let me tell you a little story time here. I'll try to keep it short. She's listening. Do you like this story? Yeah, she likes the story. I'm going to do her back foot while we chat. So I have a 16-year-old Maltese Shih Tzu mix who is not supposed to be a Maltese Shih Tzu. This is story time about pet stores. So 16 years ago, I went to the mall. They don't have as many pet stores as they used to. I need my glasses. But I also need to change where I'm sitting. They used to have one, Frederick, Maryland. And I used to go there. Oh, I just like to go and look at the puppies because they were so cute. And that place was loaded with puppies. And they'd let you play with them. They had the little booths that you could take them and play. And I got 2 dogs there. The one dog that I got, I paid $1,200. And he came with papers. And he was supposed to be a Lhasa Apso. And he wasn't. Look, I have learned a lot. These puppy mills, they don't even know their breeds. Just like a lot of vets don't know their breeds. A lot of people that work at the shelter don't know their breeds. Anyway, he was $1,200, and he was supposed to be a Lhasa Apso. He was all white, and I thought, oh wow, that's rare. You know, he's all white. That's pretty. So being a groomer, I got home and I was like, I just wanted to cut his hair, because if I see dog's hair, I just want to cut it. And I was more like that when I was younger, but not too much anymore. But Hold on, I'm trying to find my curved scissors. Hold on. Anyway, so I always wanted a Lhasa Apso because they're so like, they're little, but they're big and they're meaty and they're cute and they have those little crooked legs and the little underbite. So I got him home and I was like, I'm going to cut his hair because his hair was long. He was 8 weeks old. And I got him home. It was summertime, so I shaved him down because he had a lot of hair and I don't like long hair. I don't like taking care of it. I like to look at it. But anyway, I shaved his face. I was like, what? This dog is little. He is little. I'm going to find a picture. I'll show you later. I'm kind of busy right now. Like, this dog does not look like a Lhasa Apso. So I just kept looking at him. You know, days go by. I contacted the store. I was like, this dog, because I'm a groomer. And I know this dog is not a Lhasa. And anyway, long story short, come to find out, he was a Maltese Shih Tzu mix, which is also a really cute dog. But that's not what I paid for. And I went through a big thing with them. And the thing, long story short, they wouldn't give me my money back unless I gave them the dog back. But after this was a couple weeks later, he was already my dog. It's like, I don't want to give the dog back. I want you to give me my money back for ripping me off. That's not what I wanted. Anyway, the final result was they gave me half my money back, which is kind of fair, but not really, because this happens all the time. A lot of these dogs that you get, that you think are purebred, look weird. They look off. And a lot of times they're mixed. They might, like a couple generations ago, they're mixed with something. So all these weird traits pop out later. Like you might get a golden retriever with an underbite. And it might be because it was mixed with a boxer like many years ago. And that's okay, but just be prepared. These are things that happen all the time. You don't get what you want. Or, here's another example. Toy poodles, miniature poodles, standard poodles. There's all these sizes. Like a toy poodle is under 15 inches at the shoulder. A medium poodle is 15 to 20 inches at the shoulder. And then a standard poodle is 20 inches and higher. I could be wrong, because I used to have a poodle. But that was a long time ago. But anyway, they come in all shapes and sizes because when they come out, they grow as much as they grow. It's like your children. They all come out different. Mine are all different heights. So anyway, I'm just saying, a lot of people, when they get puppies, they don't get what they think they're getting. So do your research. Or just go to the shelter and save a dog, and you get what you get. Because they all need homes. So I've changed my thinking a lot over the years. Another funny thing to think about, I don't know if it's funny, but some dogs won't let you touch their feet. So it is really hard to find a groomer that can groom your dog. For instance, some dogs have to be sedated to be groomed. Some dogs you can't touch, and I don't know what's wrong with them. And I don't know if it's genetic. I guess it's a little bit of everything. But you're taking a chance that you might get a dog that can't even be groomed because it's so crazy and has to be sedated. And that's very expensive too, because then the groomer is going to charge you extra because your dog is difficult. If you have to buy a sedative every month or 2 or 6 months, whenever you get it groomed. These are things to consider that people don't think about. It's so weird. It's like everybody tells me a story, but I've heard it all. That's real life. I have another good one. You might get a dog that won't stop peeing in the house. That's another one. I got all these things I'm thinking of because there are just so many things that could go wrong with buying a dog. For instance, you might get a male dog and you might think that it's not natural to have them neutered. Okay, well, that's fine. That's up to you. But you're not going to get him neutered for like 2 years, and then he's peeing all over everything when you're not home and you don't know. And then you get him neutered to try to fix the peeing problem, and he's already got a bad habit set in, and he won't stop peeing on everything because you let it go on for too long. Yeah. Some dogs, they get potty trained, I mean, really fast. And then some dogs, it's impossible. Like, they just don't get it. Here's another one. You might get a dog that is a nasty, grouchy little grump. I've had one of those. My one Shih Tzu, and he died about a month ago. He was 16. Wow, he was mean. Now, he wasn't mean to me, but he was mean to, he hated other dogs. Boy, he guarded everything. You might get a dog that just has an attitude problem. Now, he didn't mind strangers. He liked strangers, but he thought he was the king of the house, and he wanted to fight every dog for their food. He wanted to fight every dog for their toys. Yep, I've learned a lot. I would never have a multiple dog household. Never. I do have 3 left, but that's not really multiple for me. Multiple is 15. Multiple is 10. Multiple is 5. You know what I mean, though? You got to think of all the poop to clean up in your yard. If you have kids that go out, play outside, your yard is going to be full of poop if you're not cleaning it up every day, especially if you have multiple dogs in your house. How about going on vacation? You got to think about going on vacation. Can you leave? Do you have someone to watch your dog? Do you have somebody you can trust? Hey, there's a whole nother subject right there. Do you have somebody you trust to groom or board your dog? People are crazy. I don't know. I don't trust anybody. That's why I don't go anywhere. Because I don't want to leave my dogs with anybody. I'm not saying everybody's bad, but you just don't know, and that's just me. I've seen a lot of bad things happen. I've worked with other groomers. Not saying they're all bad, but I'm saying you just don't know. Obviously, they're not all bad. I'm not bad. Another thing to consider, what is the dog bred for? Like, it's real. Personalities are genetic. Like, you can go look at a litter of puppies, and you can tell what they're going to be like. There's going to be one jumping around, being the boss. There's going to be one hiding in the back. There's going to be some friendly, happy ones, they're shy. And so, I mean, they come with all different personalities. Yeah, you can kind of go by the breed, what they're going to be like, but at the same time, they're all different. Like, you can't say, like, what's all over the internet. You can't say all pit bulls should be banned. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I do this pit bull. He lives around the corner. I mean, he runs right up the ramp. He gets in the tub. I cut his nails. He doesn't bite. Doesn't mean he won't bite other dogs, but this dog might not like other dogs. You don't know what your dog is going to be like. You can guess, but they're all different, just like people, and all 3 of my kids are different. And they have the same mother, imagine that, and they're all different. So you have to think, do you have a high energy dog? For instance, German Shepherd. I used to have a German Shepherd mix. That dog was completely insane. Completely. You could not calm her down. That dog was crazy. She was in the windows trying to kill everybody. Everybody. All day long, 24 hours a day, up and down the fence, because I had a doggy door. So she could just run outside and try to kill everybody. Any time of the day. She barked constantly. Constantly. So she was mixed, but I'm telling you, some of barking is genetic. Loud dogs are genetic. For instance, chow chows. Chow chows can be kind of quiet. They can creep up on you. They're not obnoxious like a German Shepherd, but they'll let you know. Whew, they would not want one. And the shedding, yeah, you got to think about how much they shed. A German Shepherd sheds and a Husky sheds like crazy. And you have got to keep them brushed. If not, they're going to be shedding all over your floors. And they're going to be shedding all over your floor anyway. I'm just saying. High maintenance. Yeah, you got to think about your neighbors. How close are your neighbors? You can't have a crazy dog that barks 24 hours a day. Here's an example. Beagles and Basset Hounds. Do not get a Beagle or a Basset Hound if you have a neighbor that's close. Whoo! Your neighbor will be your enemy. They are loud. Schnauzers are loud. Schnauzers are very loud. I mean, like I said, they're all different. But generally, I wouldn't want a Schnauzer just because, I don't know, they can be feisty and loud, high-pitched loud. I had someone come in here the other day that was complaining that their neighbor has a Schnauzer and they are ready to explode. Like they can't stand it. They just let them sit outside and bark all day. So that's another thing to think about. Barking, energy levels, shedding, not shedding, whether they need a haircut, whether they're prone to allergies. Whether you want to spend a little bit of money, whether you want to rescue a dog, whether you want to pay for a dog, whether you want to find one for free. In the newspaper, do they even make newspapers anymore? Everything's on the internet. Another funny thing to think about is some dogs eat weird stuff. Like dogs, I don't know, it's like they'll keep getting into the trash can, they'll eat the dog's toys. There are some dogs that they eat stuff and they end up needing surgery after surgery after surgery. I mean, what would you do? What would you do if you had a dog that ate stuff and needed surgery more than once, more than 3 times? I mean, it's just going to keep doing it. I mean, there's no way you would know, but I'm just saying. Can you imagine? Some dogs, they don't like little kids, but they're good with older kids. So if you have small children, it's really better to test it out and see. I mean, maybe your kids can go meet the dog and see how the dog acts before you actually get it. Because kids are down low on the floor with the dog, and some dogs, they don't like that. They're scared of fast movements. They're scared of anybody in their face, anybody down low in their face. I wouldn't like that. I got to do something to try to get her eyes cleaned out. They're all stained up. Here's another thing to consider. Do you travel? Some dogs are not good in cars. Some dogs get car sick. They can't ride for more than a few minutes and they're throwing up in your car. That's really something to think about, because if you travel and you have a dog like that, you can't take them with you. Or even if you travel and you have a small car, even if the dog is good for car rides, you might want to get a small dog that you can just pick up and take everywhere, like this guy right here, and put in your car. Just carry around and take with you. It'd be easy. Can you imagine putting a Great Dane in a little Volkswagen? Driving for hours with a Great Dane in your Volkswagen? Yeah. That wouldn't be good. Another thing to consider. How old are you? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm serious. I have customers, their dogs die, and they're like 70 or 80, and they come in here with a puppy. Now, I mean, that's your right. You can do what you want. But I'm cleaning her ears, by the way. Girl? Yeah, she's a girl. Just wiping out the cotton ball. I mean, you got to think, are you even going to be alive in 5 years? Seriously, are you healthy? There's nothing in that year. They look good. I mean, I'm not your boss. You can do what you want. I'm just saying, these are things to think about. For instance, if you're like 80 and you're still doing good and you're like, well, that's not fair. I want a dog. A great idea is to go to the shelter and save a life. There are so many older dogs that need homes. Like a little old Chihuahua that wants to sit in your lap. That, you know, isn't good with kids. It might be good with an older person that's at home alone and they just want to sit in your lap and watch TV. That's a good idea. You know. All right, I'm going over her one more time with this number 2 comb. I'm going to wipe her eyes out and she will be done. She's very easy and she's very good. And I think she likes it here. I think you should find out if you're going to use a groomer, if you're going to groom your dog yourself, I think you should find out before you get a dog how much it's going to cost. You might be surprised. I mean, it's a hard job. Some groomers charge a lot, and I don't blame them. It's hard on your back, hard on your hands, it's hard on your brain, it's stressful. You know, it's funny, you know what a lot of people do? If you're trying to find a good groomer, because they do it to me, so I know what they do. You act like you want to get nails cut, right? If you want to check them out, and just say, oh, I need nails trimmed. You can just go in there. That way you can see if it's clean. You can see if they're nice. I mean, you really aren't going to know anything for sure, honestly, but if you want to check them out, go in for a nail trim. They can cut the nails while you're there. You know, that way you'll see exactly what it's like. I'm just taking a little bit more off her nails. We're done. I'm just screwing around while we chat. Just a little bit more here. All right, I got to figure out how to get this crust out of her eyes. Hold on, I'll be back. All right, I just kind of tried to pull it out with this little comb. It's not really anything, it's just stains. It's not like clumped up or anything. So one more thing to think about. I'm going to get baby wipe, but one more thing to think about is, are you going to be at home? Like, is your dog going to be trapped in a cage all day while you're at work 10 hours? I mean, I'm saying I've done it. That's how I know. That was awful. I had no business doing that, but I had a lot of dogs, and I would just leave them in cages all day and go to work. I would never do that now. Never. Well, things are different for me now because I have a doggy door. So when the weather's nice, my dogs can go out, you know, anytime. Plus, I live right next door. So in the winter, I can run over there and just let them out and feed them and then come back to work. I go in and out all day getting food. So my situation's different. But if you're working all day, I would highly recommend considering getting fish. Fish you can leave for days, but dogs, don't leave your dogs in crates. I mean, for like an hour or two while you go to the store, that's one thing. But if you have a full-time job, maybe you can find a dog walker to come halfway through the day. But even still, can you imagine having a life living in a cage? How sad is that? People think because they can't talk that it's okay. It's not okay. All right, I'm going to dress her up. These stains don't come out. They're stains. Another thing to think about, do you want a dog for protection, or do you want a dog that is cute? Do you want a dog that is tough? Do you want a dog to guard your house? Do you want a dog that looks like you? They have those. A lot of people, it's like people with red hair, they get red-haired dogs, like this. Kind of like this color. I see it a lot. I'm like, are they doing that on purpose? So, but you got to think, do you want a dog that protects you? Or do you want like a golden retriever? Or do you want a golden retriever that will open the door for the burglars and let them in? Golden retriever will help the thieves steal from you. They will. They don't care. Golden retrievers like to walk themselves on their own leash. Have you ever seen that? They like to put things in their mouth. Look, I made this bandana. It says crazy. I don't know if she's crazy, but I made this. I sell bandanas, and I'm trying to get rid of some of the old stuff because I'm making new stuff. So I'm giving my customers some free bandanas. So I hope that they like their dog being called crazy. I hope they don't take it personally. Okay. Bye-bye.